It's hard not to know what's happening in the news today. I had friends ask me why I haven't been doing any uploads, any new podcasts in a week. They said that's a very long time for you, Sammy, not to be doing any podcasts. There's nothing to talk about. Right now, everyone know the coronavirus is still here. You're trying to put that in the back of the news. So people won't say, well, you open the country up and there's a pandemic happening. So all the reporters are instructed not to talk about the coronavirus. They're trying to make people think about other things. But people, the coronavirus is still out here. Reporters are just been instructed not to talk about the coronavirus, so you won't worry about it. When we prove to you the coronavirus is still a pandemic, why is Walmart and Myers still closing in reduced hours? 24-hour Walmarts are closing out still at 8:30 p.m. But the coronavirus is not our most worried problem to worry about. When you go back to normal business hour, while restaurants that usually open till 12 midnight during the week and 1 a.m. on the weekend, closing at 10 a.m. during the week and 10 p.m. during the week and 11 p.m. during the weekend. These restaurants and these facilities are just opening up to put money back into the economy. The coronavirus is still here, people. And then ask Sammy, why aren't you doing any podcasts? What's going on? What's wrong? Are you sick? You retire? Not yet. Real soon, I hope. There's nothing to talk about. Riots of street gangs and people that don't have nothing better to do but burn down their downtown cities and then lie that the only reason downtown looked the way it looked right now is because when whites went to the suburbs, they took all the money and the businesses with them. I was driving home one day. It was a black family. It was a black group of vehicles in front of me. They threw a pop bottle out their window in downtown Toledo. But let a black person tell you that story. It's necessary. It's not our pop bottle. White people and other people come down from the suburbs and they drop their trash. But when they go home to the suburbs, they make sure their neighborhoods are clean. That is not true. I'm going to ask right now why I'm not doing podcasts. There's really nothing to talk about. We all know the United States has some public hangings in the California area and other areas here in the United States. And the first thing came to people's mind is, oh, the old lynch mob is back. The blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy is back in his pickup truck, and his best friends from work, and maybe a judge or a senator, or maybe a judge or a city councilman in the back of the pickup truck with a loop, and they go and hang us. Well, that's stereotype. These black hangings is not white lynch mob. This is not the Aryan Nations. This is not the skinhead. This is no white supremacist group that's created these hangings. These are blacks hanging themselves in suicide. I was reading this directly from the New York Times. Family of a black man found hanging says death was by suicide. His name was Malcolm Harsh. Was one of the two black men whose bodies was found hanging from trees in California cities in recent weeks. When the authorities suggest that two men whose body was found hanging from trees in two Southern California cities have died by suicide, many community activists didn't buy it. Blacks don't kill themselves by suicide. We're blacks. Suicide by hanging is a white crime. Their fear, the men's, was being lynched. Like I said, every black story you hear might just be that, a story. But then again, in the United States of America, they paint blacks as God peoples. But family members of a 38-year-old Malcolm Harsh, one or two men said thought to have been lynched by white mobs. The 31st day of May of 2020, in Victorville, California, near a homeless encampment where he was living. The second person that was found hanging in Palmdale, California, was 24-year-old Robert Fuller. The other man whose body was found hanging are still awaiting for the results of an investigation into their death. After initially saying there was no sign of foul play in either case, the local authorities responding to pleas from community activists promised full investigations into the death of both men, a reaction in part to the protests in California and across the country against police brutality and racism. The FBI is also monitoring the inquiries. Due to the facts that he was an African American homeless man, Mr. Harsh, who was 30 years old, Malcolm, with no family initially, his life was investigation was devalued and put on the back burner. He said of the police, which he said took action to investigate Mr. Harsh's death only after the news reports and demonstrations. The stress from being homeless, the lack of hope, and the despair led him to choose to unfortunately end his life, he said. John McMahon, the sheriff coroner in Santa Barbara, California Sheriff Department, said in a statement on Friday that the detectives obtained surveillance videos from a vacant building near where Mr. Harsh's body was discovered. Although there was remains no signs of foul play, the forensic pathologist is waiting for toxicology results before assigning the case and the cause and matters of death, he said. I've read in a different report that Mr. Harsh, the 30-year-old Malcolm, was seen on surveillance video putting the green electrical wire around his neck and a tree branch and committing suicide. You see how people they jump to conclusions without getting the facts? The first thing that came in people's mind was these black men was gamed, beat, dragged, whooped, embarrassed, and then hung. Not mentioning it was tortured by white mobs. And how would the Black Lives Matters and the other black organization apologize for pointing their fingers at the bad whites behind blue eyes, the bad whites that have been targeting blacks since the beginning of the times? Because the United States of America, they made blacks God's people. The good old United States of America have made whites the devil himself. Blacks don't tear down neighborhoods. Blacks don't commit crimes. They're just innocent bystanders that is always targeted. All of these second-rate podcasts with all these subscribers that's out there with all these black men, all these black women saying tear down these Confederate statues of all these Confederate soldiers. Pull the Confederate flags down. How you gonna apologize? These second-rate podcast hosts with all of these subscribers